Suspect and Rush both suck. I'm just establishing the pace that Smalltalk episode 13 is going to take. These episodes were not easy to get through, and I've been on a bit of a high on this show. Past couple episodes, like a couple of moments, but then just consistent string of quality. And then we hit the brick wall, the 3-episode brick wall known as Suspect, Rush, and Prodigal. Prodigal was solid, but Suspect and Rush were they were hard work. So, we're just going to jump into that. I'm Ryan Cam, Jacob Collins. Say something stupid.
Well, first off, I agree with you on Suspect. That was stupid. It was basically like the Dallas episode of Who Shot JR. And they even did that shit in the Simpsons. It feels like every time there is like you have a slow season or something, or a slow episode count, you're just like, all right, let's do Who Shot Who, because that just feels like there's such like something you would do in the 80s. It doesn't even feel like something you do now. I'm like, why would you do that? Who shot Lionel Luthor? Obviously, it has no really reference to the plot other than they're like, well, we got to have like a filler episode, and this is the filler episode, because it literally adds nothing to the plot other than like the sheriff's revolution, which you're like, I will say there are things I do like about it, but really it's the same old, same old. It has no relevance to the plot whatsoever. And I think Suspect is probably the weakest of the three. But I know, and you can go to Kiss My Ass or go to hell on Rush, because I love that episode. And as for Prodigal, I like Prodigal.
Prodigal is the best of a bad situation. But Matt Wyatt, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good. And wow, you really hate both of these episodes that combined. You were just firing ready. He's like, screw it. We'll start this episode. God damn
Ryan's
it.
full of shit.
Ryan's full of shit.
I've been patiently waiting for this recording session all day just to shoot from the hip on that one. But time for talk is over. Let's dive in. This is Season 2, Episode 13, called Suspect.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville.
On the WB's New Tuesday, an all-new Smallville.
You stay away from Martha, or I promise you will regret it.
Lionel Luthor shot.
He threatened him, Clark.
Someone put that gun in my dad's hand.
A crime with many suspects.
Are you trying to frame my dad?
So now you're implying I pulled the trigger?
And one ultimate betrayal.
I warned you to stay out of this, Clark.
It's not like I haven't seen you shoot someone before.
An all-new Smallville.
Lionel Luthor is shot twice in the Luthor's mansion by an unknown assailant. It's Sheriff Ethan, by the way. When Jonathan Kent is found drunk with a pistol in one hand and a bottle of tequila in the other hand, sleeping in his truck, he becomes the prime suspect of the attempt because the coolest homie ever is somehow an assailant, apparently. All the evidences point towards him because his episode is stupid. But Clark believes in his innocence and tries to prove that his father did not shoot Lionel, because he didn't, you see. Clark and Pete team up to investigate leads Lionel had, and learns that the conspiracy to frame Jonathan goes back to the town sheriff. Yeah, the town sheriff shot a guy. Meanwhile, Lex deals with his father's associate, Dominic Senatori, Sean Connery's kid, who thinks Lex was the culprit who shot Lionel. Oh, that would have been a much better payoff than what we got. But Lex thinks Dominic is the guilty one. He should have been. Meanwhile, Lana asks Chloe to investigate Henry Small after he refuses to take Jonathan's case because he is flakier than phyllo dough. Matt, go.
Damn.
How do you really feel about the episode, Ryan?
How do you tell us how you really feel, Ryan? Look, I get where you're coming from. I mean, look, I really loved 2/3 of the episode, but I will agree that the Sheriff Ethan reveal was really fucking dumb and it didn't really make any goddamn sense. But I thought, yeah, the Dominic thing would have made more sense than the Sheriff Ethan. I did not like that either. I feel like that it was getting good with this whole murder mystery of who's the one who shot Lionel Luthor and cutting different sides of the story. But we already know that we as fans know that Jonathan Kent, no way in hell, was the one that shot him in the first place. We know he was being framed. So yeah, I will agree that the last act really took me out of it and it just kind of ruined the episode. But there were still some good moments in this episode that I really enjoyed about the whole jail scene with Jonathan telling like Martha when he found that watch and he smashed it, that she got it from Lionel after she quit from his work. And he felt like, oh, I can't buy you things that Lionel can. And he felt jealous and felt rageful. And I thought it really worked for me for most parts.
Jacob, what about it?
Well, first off, I do agree that I do not like this episode. I think it's the weakest of the three. And I honestly, I just feel like one, it's just, like I do like, there are things I like in it. Like I like the opening with Jonathan waking up with a gun and the police, like, it's raining and everything. And I do like Lex pushing Dominic against the wall, like, basically like, and I think Lionel screwing over Lex and taking over Lex court form. I like that. I thought that was really good. And everyone has motivation. I do like that. It gave everyone motivation why he would do it. Also, I think it's really funny. It's stupid, but it's funny that we get to see a montage of everyone shooting Lionel from their perspective. Like Lex, he said Jonathan,
Legs,
Dominic.
Dominic, like Sean Connery's kid.
I was waiting for everybody. Like
I keep forgetting that the actor who played Dominic, that was Sean Connery's kid. I keep forgetting that was him. I was like, what? Oh, damn.
He low-key
wouldn't it have been a better
looks like him, which
dude,
makes
wouldn't
sense.
it, dude? It would have been
Wouldn't
so
it have been a
funny
better
that when they
twist if it was
found the
Dominic?
bartender from the Coyote scene, where Pete and Clark search for the bartender that went missing. Is like, that would have been funny. Like, damn, who's that?
That would have been nice.
That would have they just dubbed that over something like looks like talking about sleeping with the fishes.
Yeah,
Also,
I
where
mean,
the fuck does Pete get these fancy cars too? Like he literally got dirt
Yeah,
bikes.
like where the
Is
hell did he get those
I've
things?
seen
Like,
his
how does
house.
he
He's not
afford it?
rich, okay? How the hell is he getting all this shit, okay?
I mean, his mom is a judge, and his dad, like whatever he's working, he worked at a cream corn factory that got screwed.
He's got
that
two
got screwed
different
over.
fucking cars in this show. He's got a dirt bike, and then his car gets destroyed, and then he's
Well,
got another
who
one.
knows? He might have car insurance. He's been switching to Geico.
Your car insurance doesn't pay out like that, dude's cars.
maybe he
And dude,
maybe
Sheriff
he-
Ethan just had a sniper and had a fucking like pickup truck and just fucking shot the car. But basically, he's trying to
Why
murder
didn't
Pete
Clark
and
get out
Clark
of the
whenever
car
they
when
got
the
close.
car went off? Clark should have got out of the car and then dealt with the situation instead. And he's faster than a speeding bullet, and yet a speeding bullet got past him.
I mean, everything happens so fast. When the gun goes off, his first instinct is to get Pete out of the car before the car blows into oblivion.
Yeah,
I do
but
like
that was
that
a hell of a bullet that dude shot in the car. It like went straight through the car trunk and straight into the gas tank.
Spoiler: he's dead shot.
No, joke. He's not dead. Shot.
No,
But
he's-
that dude was
fucking with
freaking.
ya.
No.
No way in hell. That would have been so fucking
Also,
crazy. And
here's
stupid.
Here's an issue I have with it. How did he get in the 18-wheeler that fast and haul ass without Clark?
And also, how's Sheriff Ethan, like, he's made out to be an assassin and he's the fucking sheriff of Smallville? What the fuck?
Well, it's like Ryan keeps making.
He's carrying
a joke about the
he's
law
carrying like a
enforcement
he's
aides
carrying
the
like a
cats.
9mm with a fucking like suppressor or silencer. Like he's a fucking one-time a hitman. Like, where did that come from?
Why? Yeah, what did Ethan do to John? What did Jonathan do to Ethan to where he hates Jonathan? He's like every time he keeps trying to screw Jonathan over. Like, oh, we're friends, but I'm gonna fuck you over. Watch, he thinks I'm his friend. I'm gonna fuck him over every episode.
We're like Wolverine from Days of Future Past. So you're always an asshole. So you're always a dick.
Ryan.
This whole episode is just a D's nuts lasagna stuffed to the brim with just things that make absolutely no sense.
It should have been at least like Henry Smalls or Dominic. Both of them would have had more motive than Sheriff Ethan.
I thought it was going to be Small.
Really? You really thought it was going to be him?
I didn't. When he didn't take the case, I was thinking to myself, all right, it's Small in the lead, followed closely by Dominic. Like, I'm thinking it's going to be Dominic, but if it would be Small, then, I would be understand, maybe play into the theme of
what was your reaction?
Touches, like, just turns to crap. But then when the reveal happens,
What was your reaction to being the sheriff?
Yeah,
I hated it. I hated it with every bone in my body.
Come on, man, that's garbage.
Because every episode is like Jonathan Kent's being arrested for some new thing, and that's my main issue. This entire season 1 and halfway through season 2 is
not to cut you off, Ryan, but the reaction you're probably were like in that doing in the video, like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Exactly. It's like I'm gonna be playing that clip, but like all season 1, half of season 2, there are several episodes where Jonathan Kent is arrested for something that he did not do. This is a gimmick that has the well has been gone to it far too often, and as soon as Ethan slaps the cuffs on him and says, as your friend, you have the right to remain silent. I'm like, well, you already lost 5 stars from me. Like 5 is the maximum at this point. You can only go downhill from there. And it did.
Shows you how big of a sack of shit Sheriff Ethan really is. He's willing to throw his best friend under the bus to cover his own tracks. and he's willing to murder Pete and Clark to cover his tracks again.
And
That's
his
fucking crazy.
And his reasoning is that the Luthers are evil. Yeah,
You're like cancer. And he breaks
down.
down crying like, what have I done? You're an asshole.
But he's a no-good bastard for what he did.
To be fair, Lionel was using him as like a lapdog, and so he didn't want to be like trying to destroy people's lives. So to be fair, in Sheriff Ethan's defense, for one little speck of dust, I'm trying to defend him.
Well, yeah, Lionel, but also Lionel did brought that shit on himself too by using Sheriff Ethan as a little bit of a lapdog and then blackmailing him, like threatening him basically.
I can remember I was just yesterday years old when didn't Lionel tell Lex in the last episode after Lex caused the hostage situation that he was moving back to Metropolis? So why the hell is Lionel back in the Luthor mansion?
I'll send someone to the mansion for my things.
That's a good question. No, I don't think he was moving back. I think he was just paying a visit because he bought off the fucking shares of his own company and he wanted them to tell him that in person. Sure, he could have done it in the phone call, but he just wanted to throw that in his face, saying, no, you're going to come work for me, son, because you're going to be nothing but an employee to me.
Also, Lionel survives that fall, by the way.
Yeah. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, and I see. Did you see a stuntman fall when it hit the glass? Was a stunt guy. I was like,
was that even a stunt?
Was
that even a stuntman or a big life size doll, whatever the hell you want to call it?
It was a stuntman.
That really, damn.
I also the cinematography flashback is weird. Like seriously, like the weird is just literally like it looks like something you would see. Like remember, it feels almost like something like CSI would do.
Yeah.
But then but more like the parody version, like when 2.5 Men did the CSI episode. Like, when like his mom, like his husband dies and they do the whole CSI. I'm like, why is it just so weird? It's like the flashbacks weird. I'm like, every episode thinks that they have to, the audience doesn't understand that it's supposed to be a flashback. So we're going to do like black and white, or we're going to.
Oh yeah. You remember, have you ever seen the show Heroes? I'm pretty sure you have.
I have
no.
not.
Ryan, have you seen Heroes?
I have not.
Okay, look, this is not like a major spoiler, but the show Heroes, it's a pretty great show. They did it flashback sequences and then they did it the whole black and white. So yeah, that's just an example that a lot of shows they like to use that imagery to just like they just want to let the audience know, yeah, this is clearly a flashback instead of just putting a text saying 3 years ago or several years ago. That way you would let the viewers know.
To not realize.
But I believe that they wanted to be more dramatic. I think they wanted to be more dark and ominous with the flashback of the Lionel Luthor getting shot of the different sides of the story.
I also like Lionel scurrying over Lex and Lex court from him, and I like Clark and Lex were arguing about their dads. I like that, like how
yeah, I did like that too.
I thought that was really good. That was a really good scene. I thought that was like because Clark
that was intense too, especially when Jonathan came in and confronted Lionel when he found out about the watch. It was like, oh damn, and Lionel was just going right at him like that, like damn, dude.
Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, John Glover, and John Schneider overcoming this terrible writing.
Of course, they were able to like overcome the poor writing. Absolutely, they were able to sell this episode.
Wouldn't it have been better if it was a conspiracy, like if it was the sheriff and it was Dominic? Would that have made it better for you, Ryan, if it was Dominic hired the sheriff to do it?
It would have made it far more tolerable. It just my main issue again is this just
that would just be him. And it would be just so anticlimactic when it was Sheriff Ethan. But if it was
the sheriff did it.
The sheriff did it. Dun dun dun.
That sounds like something you play in a board game, like like who was
Clue?
It?
Like Clue?
Like Clue or something.
Yeah, kind of like Clue. When you find out who the real killer is, this is not making any sense, and it's not what you expected it to be.
Yeah, like it's not really a good payoff. It's more like
it was the worst payoff ever. Do you remember in the movie Clue, they had multiple endings of who's the one being the killer? Like, I still don't remember like which one was the real ending, or was just thrown in a bunch of alternate endings just for the sake of it. Because I can't remember, because I've only seen that movie once.
Also,
yeah, it was like with the wall of text saying, "No, this is the real ending." Like that. That was good.
Also, Chloe is putting a newspaper of Jonathan Kent's arrest for a school newspaper. A school newspaper.
Yeah, like newspaper. That makes no sense.
They cover like the football team, the lunch menu, and everything. They don't really put out current events, really. I mean, that's why I'm like,
Yeah,
Chloe,
you don't put out current events outside of school when you're doing a school newspaper.
that's why it's called the school newspaper for a reason. And yeah, she put out the Kent's murder. Did Lex Luthor or did Lionel Luthor tell his assistant Dominic to write him a check?
So but Chloe has a tendency to write news articles that have nothing to do with the school, like the meteor infected people, that the freak of the week every time, that it has nothing to do with the school.
Yeah. Also, Pete's has an awful yellow jacket in this episode.
I don't mind the yellow jacket. I was not bothered by it.
I did not like it. Looks like he had a life raft on or something. He was wearing
Are we back to the fashion police?
Yes. I did not like it. I just kept it was an eyesore to me. It looked like Clark was carrying a life raft with Pete inside of it.
I turned into the guy who runs the diner for Back to the Future. What'd you jump ship? Look, you're wearing a life preserver.
What's with the life preserver? Dork thing, he's gonna drown.
Smallville fashion police. In or out Pete's jacket?
Out.
I'm gonna go with in. I'm not bothered by it. I thought it was like more settling. It's not like in your face.
So unfortunately, because 2 out of 3, it's out. But Pete, you may be rich with your cars, but you're not rich with your fashion.
Pete low-key is one of those short sellers from the GameStop stock in Dumb Money. He's still holding the line.
I still gotta see that movie.
It's really good. You should.
I've been hearing great things about it.
And here's the thing about Lana's dad that's gonna be a big plot error from the from Skinwalkers, okay? The Native American episode. I could remember just yesterday, Lana's dad was wanting to help the Native American guy out fight the Luthors in that episode, but in this episode, he's scared to fight the Luthors.
Yeah, that kind of felt a little bit odd that they did a whole bait and switch, because now in this one he got screwed over by Lionel and out of his own job because he was a criminal defense lawyer and he could not like clear the innocent man's name. Lionel just screwed him out of it before it was too late. I don't know.
You all forgotten a very crucial fact. Henry Small is flakier than a toaster strudel without icing.
Yeah, they said the showrunner said that he was originally meant to be part of the Smallville, like one of the founders of Smallville, but they really didn't have nothing to do, I guess, with him, so they just kind of just wrote him out of. They just kind of like said, "And we don't need it." Which, by the way, this character just doesn't really do nothing for me. I'm just like, I'm kind of just sick of him already.
I really love the actor who's playing Henry Smalls. I think he's really selling the character.
Sucks though.
I mean, the character's just poorly written.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like they introduced him just to give Lana.
If I remember correctly, I believe that Rosenbaum or Tom Welling mentioned on Talkville that he was another Superman content called Lois and Clark's show. If I remember what he mentioned it, that the actor who played Henry Smalls.
Oh, really? I know that.
I don't know. I could be wrong on that one.
I mean, I'm just saying this episode was terrible, but I don't like this episode.
I mean, the 2/3 of the episode for me were great, but yeah, but the ending of the episode sucked.
The opening with whoever all the montages of whoever shot Lionel reminded me of this SNL sketch. It's called it's with Shia LaBeouf, and it's like every time they read this paper, they get shot, and it's the song goes, "What you say,
Dear Sister."
Dear
that was
sister.
like that was a digital shorts. That was the digital shorts with Sandberg, Bill Hader, and then I can't remember who else was in it. Yeah, dude, that.
What you say? Oh, that you only meant well.
That's what it reminded me of. Every time
what you say.
Now, what you say?
Yeah, that was when Shia LaBeouf was hosting SNL back in like I think it was 7 or 8 or something. Yeah,
and
but
it reminds me of that so freaking much. It just reminds me of that. I'm sitting there watching this, going, "This reminds me of that SNL sketch." Every time I see a montage, I'm just waiting for that song. What you say? And then it's just every time gunshot. What you say?
Oh yeah, and speaking of that song, I remember back then when they did the shorts. After that, some person on YouTube put the clip from The Departed from the 3rd act of. I don't know. You guys seen The Departed, so yeah, I'm gonna get into spoilers anyway. When DiCaprio gets shot, a lot of people got fucking headshots, and they play that fucking song.
What you say? Oh, that you only meant well, 'cause you did.
Even at the very end of the movie, when Wahlberg shoots Matt Damon in the head, and they play that song.
A better movie than this episode of Smallville.
Oh, that's for sure. But I think we can go to ratings.
Well, that's not saying much.
Well, Matt, what say you? 1 out of 10.
Okay, well, look, like I said before, I thought the 2/3 of the episode were great. The last one, the third act really was terrible and anticlimactic. So I'm gonna probably give it a little bit of a positive grade, call like a 6 out of 10. It was
you
okay.
are very generous, Matt. That's very
Hey,
generous.
I love Smallville, and yeah, I had a lot of negative scores in the previous episodes. This one, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen.
In the words of Gene Siskel, where's your big red hat and beard, Santa? You just gave them a gift. Jacob, what about you?
Jesus.
You gave them a gift. Sorry.
Here it comes. You should do a montage video whenever 3D Jacob just dies of laughter and just have a little montage of him dying.
Well, I have been toying with some ideas.
I told him we should do clips of this, like just cut out, like
or just
really
cut
funny.
out whenever we break down laughing. That will be like in the blooper reel.
Yeah, I have a feeling
the best of for the end of the year. But
yeah, I actually was thinking like 4 stars.
You know what? I'm going to go 2. I did not care for this episode in the slightest. The actors make it work to the best of their ability.
That's mainly why I give it 4 stars. The acting.
But I'm sorry, this was just hard pass. But somehow the crap train just keeps on a rolling with season 2, episode 14, called Rush.
On the WB's New Tuesday, Bad Clark is back.
You serious?
Be careful not to cross the line. I dare you to stop me.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
This time, he's got company.
My own personal superhero. I want to see the look on Lana's face when she sees me with Clark.
What? What on God's great earth?
The Rush, invincible. But his friends are not. An all-new Smallville.
During a rave party in the underground cave discovered by the Indian descendant Kyla Willowbrook, which, by the way, that's really disrespectful to what's supposed to be a preserved thing, but anyway, the student Travis has a reckless attitude, climbing a lamp tower and dies. Who is Travis? It's not important. Soon after, Pete is pierced by a parasite hiding in the cave wall, thus becoming reckless and bold. We get Dick Pete, folks, and it's not good. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor hiles the linguistic specialist, Dr. Frederick Walden, who is about as welcoming as the Antarctic, to decipher the meaning of the paintings in the cave. Clark invites Lana to date on the next evening. Later, Clark goes with Chloe Sullivan to the cave, and she is also pierced, and we also get Dick Chloe, changing immediately her behavior into, I assume, Avril Lavigne. That's kind of what she looks like.
And then later we get Dick Clark.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. When Pete puts a piece of red kryptonite in the pocket of Clark, he once again becomes Dark Clark or Red Clark or Dick Clark, in which the trio makes lots of trouble in Smallville and hurts the feelings of Lana. I hate this episode because primarily it reverts Klana to basically square one. We made so much progress. We made 2 steps forward and we have taken 100 steps back. And it doesn't really help things that every character in this is near insufferable. Jacob, go.
Okay, well, first off, fuck you. I like this episode.
It's false. No way. Not this time.
This is actually a fun episode.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
It's also directed by, I think, Rick Rossano, who directed Halloween 2 and Halloween Resurrections.
Yeah, Rick Rosenthal, he directed the Bad Boys movie with Harvey Keitel, Halloween 2, yes. So this is a talented director. Let's not get that twisted, but this episode...
And the guy that just kills himself at the beginning of the episode is also in Halloween Resurrections.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He's like in one scene, but I just remember that. I'm like, he's the scene where they walk in, the girls on the computer looking about to go into Danger Entertainment, and he walks in the room and makes "Mommy." That's like sounds. I'll have to say the clip, but anyway, Yeah. So, yeah, I like the opening of the guy killing himself. I thought that was really cool, where he's just like, I'm gonna do it. He falls down dead and everything. And also, I like this the things like Pete dirt biking and Jonathan telling, like, which he ad libbed, by the way. John Snyder ad libbed this line I said on Talkville that he ad libbed. Jonathan saying, telling Clark, tell Pete, don't do donuts in the field, scaring the cattle. That's actually an ad lib by Schneider.
The best part of the entire episode, but anyway.
And I like Lex's line. He tells the guy, he says, if you want the best, you pay them what they're worth. I like that. I also like Clark getting bit Chloe getting bit and becoming a dick. I like Dick Chloe. It actually felt like that's what she wanted to be with Clark. And I don't like Pete giving Clark red kryptonite and Chloe telling Lex to get a toupee. Which Michael Rosenbaum openly admitted that. Michael Rosenbaum, I love it on Talkville. It's so funny when he's reading out the sentence that says Chloe tells Lex to get a toupee, and then Michael Rosenbaum ad-libs, bitch. Bitch.
Rosenbaum, I love you for that. You have never seen this, but I love you for that.
I was like, and also Clark saving Chloe and Pete in the car. I thought that was pretty cool. And Chloe seeing Clark's powers. I like that. And Lana, I thought that was really funny when Lana pours after they knock him out. Lana just
for the 1 second, how convenient that he gets knocked the hell out by Pete with the kryptonite, and then a second later after they took off, Lana just shows up out of the blue, has a bucket of water just to dump on him to wake him up. Like, what a convenient timing. Like,
where
did that come from?
That was so incredibly funny to me, and this episode gives me heartburn because literally a couple of episodes ago, Clark and Lana were almost there. They were going the distance.
I don't care if you have secrets, Clark. You are the one good, constant thing in my life, and I don't want to lose you, too. Me about something I saw with my own eyes. For once, just be honest with yourself. I know why Chloe was kissing you. But why were you kissing her back?
Wasting my damn time.
And just literally, like, this one thing happens, and just like, well, Clark is just an awful human being now. I'm just sitting there like, Lana, my sister in Christ, you literally have said, despite everyone leaving, Clark is the only consistent thing in your life. You see him doing something with,
because that was the part where you're implying that she broke character from that moment, because it kind of contradicts what she was saying in that last episode with Whitney.
He can't tell her, Ryan. He cannot tell her.
What really happened?
Tell her.
He can't
because it's like, if he tells her, she's gonna look at him like a freak or something, and she doesn't want that. Especially all these media freaks out there. She's just gonna think like he's just another one of these freaks.
It's just one of those fears that Clark is just afraid of rejection. But deep down, I believe that she probably would have understood it if he did tell her sooner. But I feel like in his mind, he's still living in fear whether he was be rejected, and he doesn't want to take that kind of rejection.
Yeah. Also, if someone died in the caves, wouldn't they be closed off for a police investigation?
That's true. It's a crime scene, and it's also a crime scene, and they emptied it out like it never happened.
I've seen House of Cards that are sturdier than Clark's excuse of, I'm writing a term paper.
And also, when that guy jumped to his death, when he committed suicide from that fall, I don't know if you would actually die from that fall.
I think the thing killed him. I think the bug killed him, and that's what made him.
No, I don't think the bug killed him, because you got to remember, because they have an adrenaline rush. They're always urged to do some crazy things, even have the urge to go off some cliffs and then potentially kill yourself. But from that kind of fall, I don't think it would have killed him that quickly, because it didn't look like it was that far up from that.
I do agree
height.
With that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm being a little nitpick. That's just
also
me.
How has Pete not killed himself by now? Because literally, Pete goes.
Yeah, he was not even around with Clark at the time. He was missing, and he's doing some crazy shit on his dirt bike, and he hasn't jump off any cliff that nearly kills himself.
Also, Pete, Clark cannot there's a couple of times I thought was stupid where Pete's when Pete rescues him from a bus, and he's like, you better tell these people you're an alien. He goes, he's an alien. Woo!
But I will say that it felt more that when they got infected by a parasite, it felt like it was their red kryptonite from Clark, because they all do some crazy things that it was bottling up inside them. And this would be crazy right now that Pete knows his secret, and he knows his weakness, he knows all of his likes, dislikes, everything. This is what would have happened if he was out of control and goes against his own best friend. And if he tries to stop him, he knows what can kill him. And he knows what he can use against him. And that's kind of a dangerous thing, because what if he was controlled by his own best friend, and he knows everything about him now?
Yeah, I love seeing Clark being a dick, because I like Red Kryptonite.
Oh yeah,
Clark. It
was kind of cool for him to get back to being a dick,
yeah.
Clark. And also when
like
then also the scene where he just stands up to Lex like, I'm gonna go into those caves, whatever I did.
I didn't like him being an asshole. Like, I hated that.
I don't care. I like that. I like what he was standing up because Dr. Walden was being a dick to him, saying no one can have access to those caves but me. I was like, dude, Lex, you pay the guy. They do what you're told to do. Isn't that what billionaires do?
Yeah, and it's amazing.
He's like, go fuck yourself, because I'm going in those caves. I'm the one who found it, and that was so cool that he just stood up to him just like that and just told him to go fuck himself.
Also, it's amazing how Lex's team did not get infected by these parasites. They just found them and figured out how to kill them. Instantly.
Killed them all with liquid nitrogen, conveniently.
Well, they were able to save a couple of them to keep it in the jar, and we know that Lex is using it for Cadmus whenever he needs for any experiment, because he knows that this thing is like an alien, and they use those parasites to stall in the cave to keep him from intruders from affecting the paintings on the cave wall, and that was from Krypton.
I did like that Clark and them were like, he's like, why don't you get back here? With him and Chloe, and they start making out, and Peach is creeping on him like, yeah.
I was like,
Chloe's like, dang, Chloe's looking at her.
I wanted to yell out people like, I wanted to yell out people like, don't be a fucking pervert, dude. But no, but here's I do like the scene in the barn where now Clark is revealing to Chloe that scene was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And he was like, he's my brother from another planet.
Also, I think it's amazing. Also, why would Clark not go explain this to Lana, like saying, hey, I was infected just like them? Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, then it would have been more suspicious that he's not in the hospital bed like Pete and Chloe when they were taking the parasite out of their neck that is crawling inside their body. Because if he's not in the hospital bed and he tells Lana that he's been infected by the parasite, it would have been more suspicious that why are you not in the hospital bed and why was it not removed from you like the others?
Also,
that's my big problem. Is like we have made so much progress. Like in this whole Clark and Lana thing, it is like
I thought Lana, the way she caught both of them in the act was a little bit over exaggeration, and she was a little too like overreacting, because one, he did not kiss her back in that moment.
It's not like his tongue was in her ass or nothing.
No, he just like pushed her away for a brief moment. You only saw for only a brief moment, and you just blew it out of proportion. You jumped to conclusions.
My main grief is that it felt contrived. Like, I can understand, because I know Lois Lane exists later in this show. I have not watched further beyond what I know. I have not.
Who told you that shit? Someone's full of shit, whoever told you that.
IMDb.
Fucking IMDb.
IMDb's a fucking liar.
I know that Lois Lane...
I can no longer confirm or deny without
this show, so we are all on the road to her. So I know that Klana's not going to be a thing. But while Lana is in the show, I want there to be some positive momentum and some positive things happening to these people. And it's like we reached the mountaintop, and then it's just like the wind just like just blew them off the top of the mountain.
You already know with the showrunners, they need to have legs. They need to keep excuses to
23 episodes.
It's 23 episodes. You got so much to do when you're writing the show on a network show.
I know,
like
and
I'm episodes of the plot
uphill with my arguments here, but
I mean, if it were like 10 episodes, it would have been like shrinked a lot shorter. It would have moved forward with the whole main narrative.
You have 8 episodes that are story. Or I will tell you, this is what they explain on Talkville. You got 8 episodes that are for the story, that are what we're trying to get through from episode 1 all the way to the finale. You have 8 episodes, but then you have to spread out 8 episodes in 23 episodes and just do filler episodes and just have to make shit up as you go, and then that's why if you see they're putting breadcrumbs there, and then of course that builds to the next episode, which if you have 8, then you're like, all right, we got one episode that's really good. That is what we want to do with Smallville. That's like leading Clark on to what we're trying to get to the finale with. And then you got this episode, but we're not trying to get there, because if you do the 8 episodes, then you're just doing a bunch of filler episodes. So like, as they get on, you start putting, okay, this is the good episode. This is the filler episode. This is the bad episode going forward. Cause that, it's a TV show in 2002. So you can't really do a big show like this and not have like, nowadays you do like Game of Thrones, you can do 10 good episodes.
Yeah, because back then we didn't live in the world with streaming service where you only had like 10 or 12 episodes to go further with your main story instead of shoving in like filler episodes. But I don't mind when they add filler episodes if it furthers the main character's story. That's the only thing that, because there's been a lot of filler episodes with the Arrowverse shows where just filler episodes that were completely utterly meaningless and it didn't do anything with the plot of the whole season, which that really bugged me. But the exceptions like Smallville or Supernatural, where they have like 23 episodes and some of them are filler, some of them were really damn good filler that pushes the main character's story further.
It feels like they did. I will say in Ryan's defense, it feels like they introduced a Lana drama so that way they can get like, all right, well, we're gonna make them break up again, and then we'll try to get them back together in 2 episodes from now or something like that.
Dude, they just want to add another stupid bullshit love triangle with
because
Chloe,
we have nothing
Lana,
to do with
Clark.
Lana, and we don't want to do anything with her and the dad right now.
And
it feels like they like.
That is the main essence of my problem. It feels like we have been down this road before, and begging these people to stop wasting my time. But I think we've covered just about everything, so go to ratings. Jacob, what about it?
I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
No, you're not.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Are you going to say Jacob's full of shit?
He is, but give me the real rating, please.
I like it. It's an 8 out of 10. I actually like this episode.
Yeah, he was very clear from the start. He says, "Fuck you, Brian. I
like this episode. I like it. It's a fun episode. I could watch it right now. That's a good episode.
I was very impressed. I will agree that one of the best parts was when Chloe and Pete were running right off the cliff with the car, and Clark catches the car, which that was pretty badass.
The car? Again,
he got another car. It looks similar to his last car, but now it's blue.
Blue.
The best in that whole episode. But Matt, what about it?
I'm going to give this thing a 7.5 out of 10. I did enjoy this episode. I don't think it was one of the worst. It's better than the Suspect episode, I will say. So, yeah, it had some good redeemable qualities for me.
I'm going to go 2.5. I'm giving just the half to the fact that there is no crappy sheriff reveal.
You're so full of shit. You're so full of shit, Ryan.
I don't care. This is my hill, and I choose to die on it.
Ryan's full of shit. Vote.
It gets
bullshit
2.5.
Meter. Bullshit meter. Ryan. You have to put the bullshit meter in. Ryan's full of shit.
And let us now move on to our final episode, which is better than these other two by a lot. Season 2, episode 15, Prodigal.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's all-new Smallville.
On the WB's New Tuesday and all-new Smallville. If you think Lex Luthor is evil, wait till you meet his brother.
Lex is the past. I am the future.
But this Luthor...
just leave Lana alone!
...is messing with the wrong farm boy in all-new Smallville.
Lex Luthor rescues his gambler, estranged half-brother Lucas from a dangerous situation involving Chinese triad gangsters, Brotherly Love, and brings him to Smallville to help him in a commercial dispute against their father Lionel. However, Lucas stays side by side with Lionel in his plans of getting his hands on all of Lex's money and to feed his gambling habit. The homeless Lex is lodged by Jonathan and his family, while Clark Kent tries to fix the situation with the crafty Lucas before he can carry out his plan to rip off the Luthor fortune. But who is playing who? Meanwhile, Clark asks Chloe to put in a good word for him to get a job at the Talon, which is then bought by Lucas, and Lionel reveals that he has regained his eyesight but does not inform anyone. He can see! It's a miracle. This is actually...
Dun, dun, dun.
This is actually a good episode. Jacob, what about it?
I really like this episode. Didn't the opening feel like the Temple of Doom? Because you have literally a guy like literally cheating, and then of course like gets like an Asian setting, and then you have like his friend
it had a little bit of a mixture of Temple of Doom and James Bond.
Yeah, it was.
Ironically, its name is Lucas.
Actually, quite good. It set up.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. I did not think about it until that makes perfect sense.
Lucas Luthor.
Lucas.
George Lucas.
Check the gate.
That's a nice pull there. I did not catch that.
Yeah, I believe that was more intentional, that for the writers to take that name after George Lucas, because what you said, that it felt more Temple of Doom in this at Edge City episode when he was card gambling and he's cheating.
And then don't they kill his friend, right? They kill his friend, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're just like Temple of Doom, when Dr. Jones has his friend, they kill him. It's just like they did the same thing. It's like, they watched, the showrunners watch, or the writers of this episode watch Temple of Doom. We're like, hey, can we rip this off for Smallville? Yeah, as long as we change a few things. Okay, all right, let's go.
And we got Paul Wesley playing Lucas Luthor.
I was literally just about to get to that, but Paul Wesley does play Lex Luthor. He has gotten work recently. He is James T. Kirk in the Star Trek Strange New Worlds show, and he's gotten a lot of steady work. He was in Vampire Diaries for a lot of those seasons. So yeah, the dude has had and still has a very long career. So
because my first exposure was this episode of Paul Wesley, but then there was another miniseries that they did on ABC Family, which was a very good miniseries called Fallen, which he played one of the son of the Archangel. I'm not going to go into it too much, but it was a good little miniseries that he did. And then Bryan Cranston was also in it, and I thought he was fantastic. He was such an underrated actor. But the thing that really put his name on the map, that we can all agree, was the Vampire Diaries. That's when he became really a big name, famous actor at the time.
Yeah, because Vampire Diaries was a big deal. Like, I can confirm, like there was like a vampire mania like running through like my middle school with Twilight and Vampire Diaries. You just could not escape it. And then it was usurped by zombies when The Walking Dead showed up.
I love the Vampire Diaries. It's better than Twilight, that I will say.
I will say I was really obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a kid. And then I heard the Vampire Diaries. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I was. You tricked me once with Twilight. You're not tricking me again with Vampire Diaries, because I watched Twilight and I'm like thinking this was gonna be like, oh my god, it's gonna be like Buffy. Yeah, but like in a movie. Oh yeah, I couldn't wait. The trailers were amazing.
I didn't really know what the hell it was at the time, because I didn't know that this was
misled the movie, made it seem like it was a horror film.
Yeah,
like,
and it was. And then I watched it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
I was so bored. I'm like.
But for some reason, it became a global phenomenon. It became popular at the time, and for some reason, I feel like I was so obligated to know where this franchise is going, even though I hate it so much. and when I see him sparkling in the fucking sun, we all agree, like, what the hell is this?
All I wanted to do is like, it's sad. It's like you have three groups of vampires. You got the sparkling vampires that love, like, that chick flicks, like the Buffy crowd. And then you got the kind of like True Blood, that because it's just like,
True.
You like True Blood? You grow up from.
I thought True Blood was pretty cool. I loved that show.
All it is vampires fucking. That's all it is.
But that is true too. But because it's a premium fucking HBO show that has a lot of sex scenes.
I don't care if another vampire goes down on another vampire. I don't care. Okay, I just want to see. That's why I like The Strain. Because it's hardcore. It's from Guillermo del Toro, who made Blade 2.
I tried watching that show. I could not get into it. It looked dumb.
They weren't sparkly enough for you. They weren't.
They weren't sparkly enough for me at all.
They were like, man, this vampire's not blowing another vampire. Okay, come on.
But I don't care. I actually love the Vampire Diaries, and I'll tell you why. Because because it was a better fucking story. It's followed the same tradition of the vampire lore, not the fucking sparkles and the sun bullshit. And also, they poke fun at the Twilight shit. They had a character that Damien, who's Ian Somerhalder, just pokes fun of that.
Twilight set vampire films back 10 years.
Even Supernatural made fun of that shit. They made fun of Twilight.
I can't stand it. I just like every time I see that shit, I'm just thinking I had to live through this. It's kind of like a tornado. I had to live through this shit, and I don't want to live through it again.
Dude, I had to live through this shit too through the Twilight movies. I always felt like I was obligated to watch all these movies to know where this is going, even though I fucking hate it so much.
But I will say back to Smallville.
Okay, back to Smallville. We got a little sidetracked.
Before we all do move on, I do have a Twilight story of my own, or well, not a story, but like. Full disclosure for anyone who has never really known, these guys know, but maybe some of you don't. My real name is Jacob. Yes, really. And when yes, stop it. But when New Moon came out, and there was Taylor Lautner's character named Jacob, and every girl in my Catholic school was wearing buttons that said either Team Edward or Team Jacob, and I had no context of what Twilight was at the time, so I thought that they were wearing those buttons for me. Oh, how wrong I was.
Tell me how it ended. How did it end? How did it end? How did it end? How did it end?
How did this
How
end?
did that end?
How did that happen? Did you approach the girl and be like, "Oh, you're talking about me"? What?
I was like, who is I was like, what's the story with the button? And she's like, it's Twilight. And I'm like, who? And then I later was like, oh, it's not me. And let me just say that it probably wouldn't have been about me even in my wildest dreams. But there was
in what world would you think it's about you? You're like, oh my God, they really like me.
They really like me.
I was a dumb kid, or I was smart, but I was also like dumb and socially. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But anyway, that's a big side road. Let's go back to our regularly scheduled program. But yeah, Paul Wesley is good. Really, the main crux of this episode is the story with Lucas and Lex and Lionel, the three L's, like playing each other, trying to one up each other, and it was entertaining. It was a bit too twisty for my liking. I was sitting there like, all right, who is playing who against what? And I don't know. But
there is one thing I liked. I liked how Lionel was like Lucas figured it out because the drink, how he literally sees him pour the drink and he figures out he's not blind. Because the way a blind man sticks his finger in there to pour his drink, and he didn't stick his finger in there to pour his drink.
Yeah. And that was pretty cool seeing that he was able to figure that out. And also he couldn't resist his reaction when he was signing the paper that says, bite me. And you cannot resist that reaction.
Face, I loved his face reaction. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to go. He said, yeah, you should have your people.
He was just like this, and he's just trying to play it cool.
You shit little.
Like, there's no way that you could be able to resist that reaction.
They took that pole ball and threw it, and he ducked.
And he's still pretending like, dude, you just ducked. How the hell did you know I threw the ball at you? You just ducked.
He should have took it in the head.
Oh, dude, he'd be dead. He would be dead if he took that into the head. But the way he was throwing that hard on that pool ball, that would have done a lot of damage. One blow to the head, you're dead.
I also liked Clark overdoing his powers and hurting Lucas.
Oh, the basketball scene. Game. Yeah, when they were shooting hoops in the barn, that was my favorite part of the episode. And then when they were having a little bit of a small talk about like Lucas moving from place to place, how what would have been like if your parents, if you were raised by the rich family or you were raised by the farm people, and how would you have turned out? And I thought that scene was very interesting.
Like, because it basically Clark gets a little jealous of Lucas. He's like, because it's like usually he has Lex like this. He goes, Lex is like a brother to me, and so he's like, the fact is that Lex actually has a brother now, and he's like kind of jealous in a way. And then when he this guy's just like keeps like pulling his nerves, so finally Clark and checks him, and then he's like, oh.
Well, yeah, he kept pushing his buttons because he got hit. It was a pissing contest when they were playing hoops.
Clark could kill him if he wanted to.
He could have. He didn't even have to. He could just have him he can literally just run into Clark and he would just.
There's a joke in season 5 that Clark does this and then knocks somebody the fuck out.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna say what scene it is, but it's a very funny.
Or what about the one scene in the last season where he knocks out Pete with a one tap to the forehead and he goes out cold?
That always makes me smile thinking about
it. I laughed every time I watched it. I was like, I don't know if I should laugh or just take the scene serious.
I use that there's two things. Is when Clark just barely tries and knocks somebody out. It's funny. Like, I'm not gonna say the scene, but he just does this. There's almost says Clark knock her, and then he just goes, and then the person goes the fuck down, just like as if he took a baseball bat through that person's face. And then I just think that's
like go to sleep.
Does this, and knocks them out, and I'm just like it's so funny. Just goes.
And also that Clark didn't even hurt Lucas. He hurt himself by trying to shove him and hit him in the moment in the heat of the game. And he's like, "Damn, dude, you're made of steel," and you nearly broke his arm.
I also liked Lex doing chores. Like once Lex gets kicked out, I like him doing chores to earn his keep. It shows that Jonathan, you can see, respects him a lot more now. The fact that he's just not like. That he's actually like, oh my god, he's actually doing chores.
That he's not just some. That he's just not some
early just to watch it.
I love the part that when he brings up with the ranch in Montana, So I'm
I
like,
loved it.
okay.
There was that scene and they had that in the gag reel where like Michael Rosenbaum was just goofing off. He's like, he was just grabbing a fucking hay with fucking like cow shit, horse shit, whatever. He's like, I'm just gonna eat shit. I don't give a shit. I'll clean up all the shit. There was that was a scene in the gag reel. Like,
put that clip in here, Ryan.
I gotta show you that clip. It's so funny. But
Ryan,
I can't
put that clip
there is a gag reel for season 2. But once we get towards the end, I will show you the gag reel that they had on the bonus disc.
Oh, Clark, my family had a ranch in Montana. I could eat shit. I just eat shit. I'll just clean up all that.
You just see Michael Rosenbaum just goofing off on camera.
But legit, when it goes to commercial, like in the show, and Lex is like, I need to stay here a few nights, and it goes to Jonathan, I was just sitting there like, he's gonna throw him out like Uncle Phil does to Jazz.
I was wondering if I could stay with you for a while.
Like,
that would have been great. And also, yeah, there's a little bit that kind of bothered me, and I know that I'm not the only one. It's like, dude, you don't have a little bit of money left to have to stay in a hotel. And
this is the issue I had.
Where's your girlfriend Helen Bryce?
Lex would not have money saved up in case Lionel screwed him over. Like that's what he was saying.
Yeah, he doesn't even have. Do you have a safe full of cash?
He wouldn't have any money. Like Lex is your dad. You should know one day your dad's gonna screw you over. This wouldn't.
Or maybe it was like intentional for Lex, because I feel like he wanted to have a family and he thought that would be his opportunity to earn the Kent's trust, especially Jonathan.
That's what
that's my guess.
It definitely reeked of curse you, inevitable betrayal.
But it was funny for Jonathan just to look out the window and just watching Lex doing hard work and give him hell.
Yeah. Michael Rosenbaum actually said on Smalltalk or Talkville that he said, why wouldn't he go to a hotel? He's got hotels. Wouldn't he go to a hotel? You know, I'm sure. Why would he go to the Kents? It makes no sense. And then they called the showrunner, and the showrunner explained because the Kents are the closest thing he has to family. He always views the Kents as the family he's never had. So that is exactly why he would.
And also, he said that we don't want to build another set.
Build another set.
I appreciate the honesty, but yeah, this is definitely the best episode of the 3. The ending I thought was very good, and I love when they quote the scorpion and the frog. I was like, the Drive fan in me was
so good.
That was very good. Yes.
Yeah, it's very relevant because it's just a metaphor that no matter how hard you try to change and you resist the change, it's in your nature. No matter how hard you try to change who you are.
Also, there's no freaking way, by the way, that Lucas gets the Talon because she has a contract with Lex, even though if he's no longer, like he kicks him out of the will, he cuts his office inheritance stuff. There's no way Lucas can like try to say I'm in charge.
But would he still have the partnership in his name now because now that Lex lost his inheritance? Lucas should be able to have that in his name now to switch it over to him because he's still the last heir to the Luthor.
But like it's contract Lex Luthor. It's not saying I think Lex did that. Lex went and bought it on. It'd be like if I bought a car, like Lex's car is still in his name, and so that the Talon would be under. It was Lex's
a little
name.
bit of a far.
He didn't buy it.
It overstepped it.
He didn't buy like the Talon off of a Luthor Corp extension. It's not the Talon's not an extension of Luthor.
No, he bought it off in his own name. It's in the contract.
Now one can argue that Lex used this money that was not his to buy it. One can argue that. But also she's under contract with Lex, so that means that'd be a whole legal mess, which I'm sure the writer's like, we don't want to explain all this. Just
no,
say
we're just
this.
gonna go along with
well,
it.
Pretend like this. Yeah. But I thought the Triad trying to kill after Lucas tried to fuck over Lana and everything. Like I said, that the Triad trying to kill Lucas and Clark saving him, even though Lucas had him fired. I thought that was pretty cool. And I also like Lionel's. I also like the Lionel, like Lucas trying to kill Lex and Lionel. And then like when
when he was staging the kidnapped with holding like Lex hostage, try to get Lionel to kill Lex so that he can get the entirety of his inheritance.
Yeah.
But this was like staged. That reveal of that was pretty dope.
I also liked when Lionel shoots at Lucas and he's just like, you ungrateful little bastard, and he shoots him dead.
He had no problem.
And then like the gun was blanks, and I was oh god, he just shot him, and then all of a sudden it was like, nope, it's all like staged. I hated though when it was like, it's on you, he got you. I'm like,
I thought it was pretty cool.
So it reminded
Lex,
me of
at first I thought like was Lex in on it too, but apparently the look on his face, he looked so shocked and relieved. I was like, oh my god, Lucas played you. He played the chess game.
It felt like that scene in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull where Mac is like the triple agent. It just felt like that, where I'm like, this is a triple cross. It's like, no, I wasn't working for him, I was working for you, but I was working for him, and then I was working for me. I was like,
I think it was just more like Lucas testing to see who he can really trust, either Lionel or Lex. Now he knows for sure after this whole little stage scheme of his, now he can fully trust his own brother and not his own father.
I know you guys can't tell me, but I sincerely hope that Lucas does come back, because I think there is.
You want to tell him? You want to tell him?
Tell him. This ain't like we're.
Oh,
let me save it. I'll save it.
He's written off.
They never see him again, ever.
You're never
on the show.
Gonna see him again. He's written out of the fucking show. And even there's an episode of the Michael Rosenbaum podcast that Paul Wesley guest starred in. Even he was like, why couldn't they just written me more through the show? I was an important character, but for some reason they've written me out of it. I was like, why?
I think it's because they probably couldn't afford him or something, or maybe they were like, "Oh,
I think they could have afforded him. He was not even a big star at the time."
Well, I think it was probably because it was like because of you got to think about it this way: you have all this cast, like Whitney, like John Michael Rosen explained that he thinks they killed Whitney off so they could afford John Glover, because he said because you have so many cast members and you have to pay them salaries, and so if they brought Lucas in, you have to pay him, and if he's reoccurring, then you have to pay him a salary.
I mean, I don't think they need him to make him a regular. Just make him appear as a guest star from time to time, and that way it would have made more sense for him to be an important part of the show, but not like as the main character, but as at least like make a few appearances here and there. And the way that they just written him out of it,
I wish they would have just shot and killed. Lionel would have actually.
If they would have killed him off, then I wouldn't be so bummed about it.
Because then it'd been like, all right, he's gone. I mean, I just feel like, I was just like wondering, like, why did they just like? It feels like there's a couple of characters on the show that they just after they're done with their arc, you never see them again. And I'm just, I think it's because they're probably not. I guess they probably. This is my opinion, complete opinion. I don't know if this is true or not. I just feel like maybe it's because the actor was not available. Maybe he was on a pilot, or he was on a different show and he couldn't do it. Maybe they had like, hey, we got this cool arc with you, Paul Wesley Anderson. You want to come back? And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm shooting another show. I can't. And so, I mean, maybe that was it, or maybe it was.
Did you see the episode of Michael Rosenbaum when Paul Wesley was on? I don't know if you watched it.
I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah, he definitely mentioned it on the podcast. He's like, dude, I would have loved to come back to play that character. I don't know why they didn't want me back. I was like, for some reason, they ripped me out of the show.
Maybe they just didn't want the father. They just wanted to be the conflict to be between.
Yeah, they probably wanted to continue the whole father and son thing and not drag this whole brother like storyline out.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm not gonna say I can't say, but I just think honestly. I understand why, but I think honestly, if you try to drag other people into Lex and Lionel's conflict, it just becomes like no. But so I mean, yeah, I hated that, but also I did like the conversation between Lex and Lionel at the very end of the episode. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really good. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, and also Lex, I just don't like the whole Lex plotting to screw over Lionel. It makes no sense. But I did like the episode as a whole. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I did enjoy the episode quite a bit. I think we've covered everything. Let's go to ratings. Jacob, what do you got?
I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
All right. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, this is definitely the best out of the three, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
You know what? I have been rather harsh on this show today, so I'm going to give this show a gift. I will go 7. There is stuff that I liked here. It got a little too complicated for me personally, but at the same time, I liked a lot of the stuff going on. So overall, not bad. Certainly better than the other two, but we're over the hump, fellas. But
over the hump. Oh yeah.
But thank you all for putting up with my sort of anger. I guess I don't know what this was. Anger,
your bitchiness.
Sure,
I can feel your anger.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Matt, Jacob, it's a privilege to do this with you every week. Jacob, where can people find you?
The Hub. Bow, chicka, bow, wow, chicka,
Sure.
bow. No, they can find me on 3D Movie Cinema. You know, I do something mysterious on there. I do reviews on movies in a sexy voice. You know, I just
ASMR.
AMSMR. Yeah, I do. I just do. Yeah, I do movie reviews like this. No, I do. Yeah, movie reviews on there. I just dropped. By the time this airs, I would have just dropped my review for Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I watched, and if you've seen it, you know I liked the movie. And I also me and Ryan just did a collab on a movie called Gossip. You know, you might have heard me call him a chicken fucker in there. A goat fucker, a goat fucker in there.
I have not seen it yet. I can neither confirm nor deny, but Jacob's channel is in the description. Give him a subscribe. Matt, your link tree is in the description. What you got coming up?
Yeah, I just put up my review for Saw X. So yeah, and I will be, after this video ends, I'm going to record my review for The Exorcist Believer. And I will be uploading my other review called Lights Out for my Halloween horror special. And there's going to be a lot more that I will record. I'm probably going to record another review for the Halloween special called Final Destination.
Did The Exorcist make you a believer?
I don't know. You'll find out.
Yeah, find out at the links in the description
Yeah,
below.
go find out in the description. Follow my platform. Definitely subscribe to my channel. I would definitely appreciate your support.
But as far as this channel goes, Scary Mania is just about winding down. We have a week left. Thank you all so much for the support there. Jacob was just on to talk about Hellraiser. Matt is just, I believe, was just on, if the schedule is correct, just on to talk about The Faculty, and it was a lot of fun. And so yeah, Scary Mania is just about to wrap up. Scorsese month begins in November, and then December is Chris Mania. Next week, next week, Smalltalk is on Halloween Day. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot it was. And oh yeah, speaking of Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm going to be seeing it this weekend. So that will be another review that I will be putting up after I'm done seeing the film.
Yeah, definitely look out for that. Look out for Jacob's stuff. Look out for stuff from this channel. But for Matt, for Jacob, for me, my name is Ryan Camp. For Truth, for Justice, for the American Way. We will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.